As we recap the week of August 19th, one scripture comes to mind. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong. 1 Corinthians 16:13. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm Christian Activist Vall Owens, and this is your Red Pill.
New research suggests getting a flu shot in early pregnancy could increase the risk of a miscarriage. A study published in the journal Vaccine on September 13th assessed the effect of influenza vaccination and the risk of miscarriage. Researchers studied pregnancies from 2010 to 2012 and found a link between women who had miscarried and women who had back-to-back annual flu shots. The study has left many people confused, as the CDC currently advises pregnant women to have a flu shot, and it lists pregnant women among those at high risk for developing flu-related complications.
We're constantly being misled as to what's safe to put in our bodies. The time has come we have to question everything. The doctors, the CDC, even the guy that's spraying the pesticides on our lawns where our children play.
A federal appeals court slammed the EPA Thursday, saying it knowingly endangered the public's health by allowing the use of a pesticide shown to harm babies' brains. The court ordered the EPA to remove the pesticide chlorpyrifos from the U.S. market. It's been used since the 1960s on food crops and animal feed. In an opinion filed Thursday, the judges said the EPA was wrong to allow the use of chlorpyrifos in the face of scientific evidence that its residue on food causes neurodevelopmental damage to children.
1 Timothy 6 tells us the love of money is the root of all evil. They don't care about our children, and they don't care about us. So it's no surprise when we hear that the birth rate is at an all-time low.
New research shows a sharp drop in the number of babies born in the U.S. last year. An analysis reported in the New York Times found an estimated 3.84 million babies were born in 2017. That's down more than 100,000 from the year before. And the number of people who age 18 to 30 who say they haven't had sex in the previous year, that jumped to nearly 20% in 2017. That's compared with about 10% in earlier decades. CBS News contributor Jody Cantor is an investigative reporter with the New York Times and joins us at the table to discuss. Good morning to you, Jody.
Good morning.
So here we are, people are having less sex because they're on their phones, and the number of babies, there's a drop in the number of babies being born. What's happening here?
So part of this is just about a huge change in the contour of our lives, right? Having less children, having them later, but it's also about the sort of day-to-day way we live our lives. And the chief culprit does appear to be smartphone. I think the worry is about the decay of social bonds generally and lack of kind of in-person quality time.
As millennial women into the workforce, they are delaying marriage, they are delaying having babies, and at the same time, we see birth rates of women over the age of 40 increasing.
So we were talking about people being on their smartphone and not having sex. The reporting that you've been doing, spending so much time on Harvey Weinstein and this reckoning that's been going on, give us your sense of the ripples that is having in just regular people's lives.
I think what's fair to say is that we're just at a state of romantic reckoning in this country right now. There are a lot of questions about the right way to do things and what the rules are. In my reporting, I talk to a lot of people who talk about just changes in their romantic interactions. I've had women tell me that at the end of dates now, guys will say to them, I just want to make sure you were comfortable tonight. I want to make sure that everything felt okay to you. Even something like student debt can be a factor. I mean, you speak to lots of 20-somethings who say, I'm just not ready to start a family yet. I first have to take care of this enormous financial burden I have. So I don't think there's just one or two factors here.
All right, Jody, thanks so much.
I let this play all the way through so you can see how they mention everything except the largest, most murderous movement worldwide. Yep, you guessed it, abortion. They just did an entire 10-minute segment on low birth rate and didn't mention abortion. And you still think media isn't fixed. Speaking of fixed, every year, every other year, around the fixed time, it seems the government's favorite virus makes an appearance.
Health officials are warning the latest outbreak of Ebola in Central Africa is a, quote, game changer. The last major epidemic was back in 2014. It was the worst Ebola outbreak in history. Now the virus is spreading again. At least 44 cases have been reported in the Democratic Republic of Congo, causing 23 deaths.
The report of an Ebola case in the city of Mbandaka means the virus has arrived in a densely populated area. Until today, the 44 possible cases and 23 deaths have been limited to the remote rural area of Bikoro. But Bikoro lies near the heavily traveled Congo River, which connects travelers not only to Mbandaka to the north, but to the capital city of Kinshasa, with more than 9 million residents to the south. The fear is, if the virus reaches large urban areas, it could spread quickly with devastating consequences.
Without bringing up depopulation, Agenda 21, or any other conspiratorialities, what is fact is the CDC patented the strain of the Ebola virus back in 2010. In 2015, a pharmaceutical company named Merck created what is said to be the first vaccine to have the best chance at containing the virus. Even today, as of August 2018, the vaccine remains unlicensed, and all we can do is continue to pray for the people of the Congo. Meanwhile, on the other side of Africa, white farmers now live in fear for their lives.
President Trump says he asked Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to investigate land seizures and farmer killings in South Africa. Now, last night, he cited Fox News host Tucker Carlson in a tweet after watching a segment on the issue. The president quoted Carlson saying the South African government is now seizing land from white farmers. He also cited the, quote, large-scale killing of farmers.
South Africa's government fired back at the president, saying it, quote, totally rejects this narrow perception, which only seeks to divide our nation and remind us of our colonial past. So for more on this now, we want to bring in CBS News foreign correspondent Deborah Pata. She's with us now on the phone from Istanbul. So, Deborah, you've been following this story very closely, obviously. You live in South Africa.
So, Deborah, take us through the fact and the fiction of President Trump's tweet and the reporting that he's citing from Fox News on these farmland seizures and the large-scale killing of farmers, and specifically the president in his tweet mentioned white farmers.
Well, that's where we get into a mess regarding the story. First of all, President Trump has conflated two issues, the one being land seizures and the other being the killing of so-called white farmers in South Africa. Land seizures have not begun in South Africa.
According to police figures, 71 people were murdered on South African farms in the year to March 2017.
Land seizures have not begun in South Africa.
Farmers say that figure doesn't reflect the full extent of the violence.
Land seizures have not begun in South Africa.
The one bullet went through here, went through there, through the chair into the wall there.
In February, armed robbers stormed this farmhouse and opened fire. Estelle Nieuwenhuizen's partner was shot repeatedly at close range.
I was shot 2 times there, one there, one here, and the other one went in here. And it went out of the back of my neck.
The attackers tried to take one final shot at Beres Henrico's head, but the rifle jammed.
Land seizures have not begun in South Africa.
They must leave the keys of the houses because we want to stay in those houses. They must leave everything they did not come with here in South Africa and go to Australia.
Land seizures have not begun in South Africa.
We have to be able to discern the fake news from the real news. We live in a time that you can't believe what you hear in the media. And sometimes you can't even believe what you see. I'm not left wing, I'm not right wing. I'm the guy putting the entire bird in the light for the world to see. John 8:32, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. I had planned on putting together more articles and more video footage, such as the mysterious booms, China's social credit score, the sinkholes that's been showing up and drying up lagoons and drying up rivers all over the world. We had British link. I had a British link to snuff videos that's been turning up. I had so much stuff to post, and if I would have posted all, it probably would have took 30 minutes, but unfortunately, I've been having technical difficulties, so I had to cut it short. But I just wanted to thank you guys for tuning in once more. And just to tell you, be encouraged. This stuff isn't to make you worry. It's not to stress you out. It's not to make you afraid. It's to encourage you and embolden you, to let you know that you are a watchman and you are part of God's army. Look up. Talk to him. Because that's where your help cometh from. I've taken up too much of your time, and I hope this has blessed you and encouraged you. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Once again, this is news from a biblical perspective. Like, share, subscribe, and make sure you comment below. Let me know what you think.